following podcast contains spoilers and some really fucking bad words. We watch a thing. We watch a thing. Hello everybody and welcome back to We Watched a Thing with Billy and Dave. It's wonderful to be here with you in this brand new year. Thank you for sticking with us so far. How you doing, Dave?
I'm good. Happy New Year, mate.
Yes, it's wonderful. It's wonderful to be back. Did you do some drinking on New Year's?
Does the Pope shit in the woods?
Did you accidentally get drunk and order $350 worth of beer?
You're not meant to tell the public that. I may have done. I may have got lost watching videos about what is the best beer in the world and then drunkenly gone searching and ordered a bunch of the shit. But on the upside, in a couple of days, I'll have the best beer in the world.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But we're not here to talk about beer this week, mate. This week we're talking about a movie. A movie which you have been messaging some very strange things over the last couple of days, alluding in my mind that maybe it's a movie you didn't like much. To me, it's a movie that I don't think we need to talk about much because I think I'll be talking about it a shitload next week or the week after when we do our top films of 2024. So
really?
Let's get into Poor Things, which is a 2023 science fantasy black comedy film directed by Yorgos Lanthimos and written by Tony McNamara. It's based on the 1992 novel of the same name by Alistair Gray, and it stars, of course, Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, Willem Dafoe, Rami Youssef, Christopher Abbott, and Jared Carmichael, along with Catherine Hunter, Hannah Shugala, Margaret Qualley, and Vicky Pepperdine in supporting roles. And what is it about, mate?
It is, according to IMDb, the incredible tale of the fantastical evolution of Bella Baxter, a young woman brought back to life by the brilliant and unorthodox scientist, Dr. Godwin Baxter, who then, I guess, goes on a John Hughes coming-of-age journey, meeting different people along the way.
Yeah. I mean, we're at the point now where, for the most part, I think people know what to expect when they go into a Yorgos Lanthimos film. I feel like he might have tricked the public a little with The Favourite, which is his most kind of by the
if that's the only film of his
yeah,
this film will come completely out of left field and just slap you upside your head.
And I think definitely this film is divisive. I think you're going to fall into one of two crowds. You're either going to love this film or hate it. I don't see a world where anyone is going to be like, yeah, that film was fine, because it's doing very big. And in some ways,
it's a big swing.
In some ways, it's his weirdest film. In some ways, I feel like it's his least weird film as well. Like, I feel like from a narrative structure perspective, it is quite a clear kind of hero's journey. It is about her growth. I
think his leaving The Favourite aside, his previous films largely have all been original properties, haven't they?
Yes.
Lobster, I'm not sure, but I think Lobster, they're not based on novels or whatever, whereas this was. So
yes.
Narrative structure-wise, it's obviously some work has gone into the screenplay, but it's not his core narrative that's come from elsewhere. Where he's come in, obviously, is in what he's done with that.
Yeah. So I knew nothing about this film going into it other than Yorgos Lanthimos and Emma Stone. I knew nothing about the plot. I knew nothing about the setting. I saw this with Topher. We went and did a little date to the cinemas, the two of us.
Oh, a little man date.
And I was super excited for this film, but knew nothing about it. And as kind of alluded to earlier, I absolutely loved it. This is definitely going to be quite high in my top films of the year list. But I think I completely understand anyone who doesn't love it. So hit me with it, Dave. I'm very curious to know if you've been teasing or if it's real. Did you like this film? Did you not like this film? Tell me your experience with it.
I mean, generally speaking, I am a Yorgos Lanthimos fan. I liked The Favourite a lot. I liked Killing a Sacred Deer. I liked The Lobster. I like Dogtooth. I've got a few gaps in his filmography to fill with some of his earlier stuff. But generally speaking, I kind of like his He's kind of he tells fairy tales.
Oh yeah,
because his films are not set in our world.
That's right. This film reminded me a lot of The Shape of Water in terms of the way that it plays with the structure of a fairy tale.
But you also know that I'm not a huge fan of whimsy for whimsy's sake and just being kind of kooky and weird just because you can. Hello, Wes Anderson. But I think where I don't really like Wes Anderson's shtick, because I feel like he does that almost at the expense of everything else. It's like if you asked him to make a documentary, he'd still manage to throw fucking whimsy slapped all over it.
Yeah.
Because that's just kind of, he just seems unable to do anything else. But I think this is an example of how to do that right.
Okay, so you did like this movie.
This might be my favorite film of the last 5 years.
Oh, okay,
this
cool.
film is fucking incredible.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
I can't fault it. I loved everything about it. Everything about it.
Yeah.
It's Emma Stone's best role. It's Yorgos's best film. It's amazing.
Oh, awesome. We're on the same page then. I think this is Yorgos's best film, and I'm a big fan of his work as well. I think
it's up with the best of Terry Gilliam in that sort of quirky adult fairy tale.
Watching this movie made me think, you know who needs to see this is Cronenberg. Because it reminded me a lot of what Crimes of the Future was.
This is what you do with Willem Dafoe?
Yeah, this is what Crimes of the Future was wanting to be and failed drastically at. The world building in this thing is next level good. The fucking production design and cinematography blend so beautifully together. The screenplay is just fantastic. Emma Stone kills it. I was not prepared for how funny this film was. And
this is the funniest film of the year.
Not only is this Stone's best performance, this is Ruffalo's best performance. He almost stole the show. He was absolute. And it's easy to forget he's done some great work. He's been caught up with the MCU for so long now. It's easy to forget he was in fucking Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yep. There's a one of God, what's his name? Is it John Carney? Who's the Sing Street dude?
I don't know. I haven't seen Sing Street.
Oh fuck! There's so many holes in your bloody filmography. It's a shameful thing. Everyone talks about Sing Street. Everyone talks about fucking whatever it's called, the one about the busker. But there's a film in the middle with Ruffalo and Keira Knightley.
Yeah,
called,
right.
I think it's called Begin Again or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So he did once, which was the one about the busker. Then he did this little one, and no one talks about it. And it's the fucking most beautiful film.
Yeah, right.
And Ruffalo's fantastic, but yeah, you're right. This is now hands down my favorite Ruffalo performance.
He killed it.
He is so funny.
It's easy to look at any of these performances and go, oh, well, they just about steal the show. Because I feel the same way about Dafoe. Dafoe is so good in this role. And again, the production design.
Makeup on him as well.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and when they're sitting eating dinner and he's got all the test tubes and blows out the big bubble and explains that, his father took away, organs, so he has to make his own gastric juices. You're right. It's whimsy, but it's world building and it's
glossed over. It's not a big thing.
Yes.
It's just part of the production design, really.
That's right.
And
yeah.
and there's so much, like the fucking weird animals.
Yeah.
They're, I think they're mentioned once right at the end where they make some passing comment about dog chicken or something.
Yeah.
But other than that, they're not mentioned. They're not even acknowledged by the characters. There's just these hybrid animals running around in the background.
It's such a surreal film because it's obviously, it's set in Victorian era, but not our true Victorian era. It's set in this weird
fairy steampunk fairy tales.
Yeah.
Live action Studio Ghibli.
Which is such a great setting for this, kind of subversive retelling of Frankenstein. And the way that even the story progresses is, like I said, narrative from a structure perspective, it's quite straightforward. But there's still kind of twists and turns along the way. Like when you find out who Bella actually is and how she came to be, that surprised me. Like okay, all right, yeah, she's a woman with an infant brain. That makes sense. Okay, let's get into this.
She's acting childlike, but the monster is childlike in Frankenstein. So you don't for that first half or 2/3 or whatever it is, you're not going, oh, why is she acting like a child? Well, you just assume, oh, well, she's new. She's just being brought back to life. She's like Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah.
So it does come as a bit of a kind of a mic drop moment when you find out, no, he put an unborn baby's brain in her body.
Yeah. And
which kind of makes young fiance guy.
No, well, that's right. And I think
still keen to marry her after he found that out.
Yeah, and I think thematically that's all part of it. It's the same with Ruffalo, just, basically using this girl for sex to start with, because she, it raises a lot of questions around, can Bella actually consent? Like, is she actually capable of consenting to these acts? And it's
I mean, they do make a point that she has her mental acuity has developed
it grows at a rapid
exponential rate, and she's essentially mentally like an 18, 19-year-old by the time she meets Ruffalo, I think. And plus, I mean, from everything we see, she's really fucking good at sex. So
and tremendously horny, which children are too. When children are first discovering themselves, like that scene at the dinner table
playing with that fruit bowl.
Yes, where she's grabbing the fruit and showing the maid, like, Bella can make herself happy whenever Bella wants. Like, I just think that thematically, this film is digging into so much stuff around not only sexual relationships and romance, but even parenting and, like, the consent of birth. Bella didn't choose to be created. Godwin made that choice for her, which effectively is the choice that all parents make. We're all bringing someone into the world, whether they've asked to be brought into the world or not. And I think that this movie plays with that in a really interesting manner. Like, I just think it has many interesting things to say.
That one decision, and I'm assuming this goes back to the novel that it's based on, but that one decision to have her own infant's brain put into her makes the entire film so much more thought-provoking from that.
Oh, yeah.
Sexual politics, everything. I can't recall whether Chris Abbott's character, the husband, of the original Victoria's husband, whether he gets actually told.
He does at a certain point. He definitely does.
So he is still happy to continue a married life
with his child,
with his own child.
Yes.
This is a Pandora's box of moral quandaries. This
100%. It just you could thematically dive into this film for years, I think. But you're right. Like the production design, it calls back to Terry Gilliam, like Brazil, which is another brilliant case of world building through set design, where things are just kind of there and they don't need to be explained, and that's part of the world building. And this is exactly the same. Like, when just the design of the cruise ship and the weird kind of pods that they get on to get to the city of Alexandria and stuff. Yeah. Like, it's just,
because up until that point, it's sort of hyper real.
Yes.
You still get the sense, this is in our world. It's just told through like a Terry Gilliam style.
Exactly.
Larger than life. It's not until I think, I'm not sure if the first thing you see is the cruise ship or if it's one of those kind of Studio Ghibli air balloon things that you see going. One of those two things you see and you go, wait a minute. All right, this is not our fucking world. This is some fairy tale world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although the science kind of, the dog, chicken and stuff should have kind of been a bit of a red flag that I don't think science in our world can do that, can
it? Yeah, honestly, I would love to see Emma Stone get an award for this. Is she going to? I don't know.
How?
Is it too much of a genre piece? Is it too soon after
she's
La
been
La
nominated
Land?
So far. I mean, a lot of noms have been going around for various smaller festivals, but the big ones have been Yorgos, obviously, and Emma Stone, and Robbie Ryan, the cinematographers. He and Emma Stone are getting the most nominations, understandably. She has to be nominated.
Yeah, 100%.
I will be astonished if she's not, and Yorgos will be. I think Robbie Ryan will be. I think Holly Wannington will be for production design.
I'd love to see Ruffalo get nominated for supporting actor.
I would as well, and I'd love to see our mate Tony McNamara get up for screenplay.
Yeah, same. Because from memory, he's written the majority of Yorgos's films. Yes.
Well, he did The Favourite. That's the only other Yorgos. You don't know what else.
I know the name. Yeah, Raging Placid Lake.
He has not done a lot. Yeah. Writer director of Raging Placid Lake.
Yeah,
and he's not done a great deal, but he's done like maybe 5 films or something. He hasn't done a lot of
Cruella,
stuff. So
which I haven't seen.
Did he?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, I have not seen Cruella.
He's done a lot of Aussie TV stuff because obviously he's Australian, and I know he was the creator of The Great, which is just a hugely unsung, and actually makes a lot of sense because it's a modern comedic sensibility costume drama about Catherine the Great. So it's there's a lot of DNA there. Oh no, there you go. Yeah, he wrote the Favourite as well. But yeah, no, I'd like to see him get up just for
that would
long overdue.
Oh, because it's a very as we both said, it's a very complex script, and it's so much funnier than I was prepared for.
Novel.
Yeah,
like your story will come from the source material, but the things that make you laugh in a cinema, that's the screenplay. That's not the novel it's 100%. Based on.
Yeah. I was just not prepared for it. I think every single character, even the tragic ones, have at least one line that just made me laugh out loud hysterically.
I've loved more in this than anything this year. This is the funniest film of the year by a considerable margin for me.
Yeah, definitely.
And we love Yorgos. He's one of the most exciting directors working. Every film he does is interesting and unique and original.
Yeah.
But I think he's taken a step up with this one. It's like he's cranked all of his skill sets up to 11. I think production design, Holly, whatever her name is, Waddington. I mean, she's done a lot of stuff, but I think even she's cranked it up a notch.
Yeah.
This is not in, The Great aside, but this is not in Tony McNamara's wheelhouse. He's, stepped out of his comfort zone. I think and cinematographer on it, who I think is Robbie Ryan. Yeah, it is. It's Robbie Ryan. Most of his career has been working with the likes of like Stephen Frears and Ken Loach, and this is not the sort of film he's done before.
Yeah.
How he's suddenly
the cinematography is gorgeous.
I think he did The Favourite, but I don't think he's done other Yorgos stuff. But most of his stuff, from what I looked at, it's small character stuff. It's like, how do you go from Ken Loach to this?
Yeah, and I think that's what makes this movie work so well, is that at its heart, it is a character study, essentially. But it is so much bigger than that. Like, this movie feels like an epic. Like, this feels like Homer's Odyssey. Like, we journey with Bella for the truth of the matter is, you don't even know how long this story takes place over. Like, there's no indication of time. It's years, certainly.
It's months on the boat alone. It's months on the boat, and then she's months presumably in Paris because she's well established in that bordello.
Yeah. And it really has that feel of an epic to it, where even though you certainly wouldn't describe this as an adventure film, but it has that feel to it. We journey around the whole world. It's just it feels big.
It's almost you're right when you say epic. It kind of feels like a Greek Odyssey type
that's
story.
What it feels like to me.
You're traveling the world, you're going to these weird places, and there are little sort of vignette stories that are happening at these places, like with the poor starving people where they stop off on the way to Paris and so on. It's Homeric in scale as far as an epic journey goes. But it's I'm very interested to know what Topher thought as a camera guy, because this is probably the most exciting cinematography I've seen in anything this year. I can't believe I did read they only used 4 lenses and this was a single camera shoot, which I just blew my mind. So the use of lenses and everything is so interesting.
He did love this film. However, last night was his first viewing of Saltburn, and he messaged both Sam Hurley and I simply saying, if Sangren isn't nominated for cinematography for Saltburn, we riot.
Wow.
So Saltburn...
I mean, we love Saltburn, but
so,
did this to me, cinematography-wise.
So
wow.
I asked him, though, and Saltburn didn't crack his top 5 favourite films of the year, whereas this did. But I think cinematography-wise, he edged Saltburn higher. But I tell you what, this is such a gorgeous-looking film. And I think for me, it's the way that everything blends together. It's not just the cinematography, but the way that ties into the production design and the visual effects.
It's not flashy for flashy's sake. Like he's got these, wide angle lens to show the setting of all these wonderful locations.
Yeah.
But then these zoom lenses so that he can sort of dance through a crowd and find a character. And
there are times I must
fisheye
admit,
lenses.
I was just going to say, there are times where I must admit that even I, as like a film aficionado, I don't understand what he's going for at times. Like when we go to the fisheye lenses, I can't look at that and say, okay, he's doing that to complement this or for this reason. I'm not saying he doesn't have a reason. He's Yorgos Lanthimos. I'm sure he does. I'm just saying his reasoning is so next level at times that I can't say why he's making certain choices at times. Like,
to me, it felt like the fisheye one in particular kind of felt like it was sort of 50% leaning into that steampunk feel. But I think it also, and I want to watch this 2 or 3 more times to kind of, really focus in on things like when the lenses change and what the scenes are. But I came out with the feeling that the fisheye lens in particular was kind of used to focus in on particular intimate moments. It seemed to be whenever you had 2 people talking or something. Yeah. And then obviously the effect of that lens is that everything is about the center of the field of view.
Yeah. There's that beautiful, absolutely bizarre shot where it's using a fisheye lens without the vignette on it. Most of the time you see the fisheye, it's got that very harsh, strong vignette. There's this one shot where it's the fisheye without a vignette and they're walking along this kind of curvy street and the camera is moving with them. And it is so disorienting. But it's just such a beautiful fucking shot because you just do not see that in film. Like, you just don't. And it looks so bizarre.
Everything about the look of this film was just next. Every single scene, there was so many things to pick apart.
I adore the interstitial title cards as well, where it's just these surreal shots of Bella doing things that don't really have anything to do with the film at large,
stunning.
But they're just gorgeous.
That was the other thing, the fisheye, that you've reminded me. The combination of those interstitials and the fisheye lens kind of almost gave me the feel that this was all taking place within a snow globe.
I totally understand what you're saying. That, I can see that. Yeah.
It had this weird, and it took me back to, and this is a weird out of left field thing that probably only makes sense to 2 people, but there's a Italian horror film, which I think I've spoken about before, called Del Amore della Morte, or Cemetery Man, with Rupert Everett. And there's spoilers for that film. If you haven't seen it, turn off. But the closing scene of that, for no reason at all, the camera like zooms right back out and the characters are inside a snow globe.
I love that. That's awesome. I could
for no reason, and that's kind of your end, and it's straight. That's kind of what it brought back to me, because you kind of had this circular feel from the fisheye, and there's just the surreal nature of it all. God, I fucking love this movie.
I loved the
Emma Stone. I can't think of another performance off the top of my head that I would want, even in the running for Best Actress. I think she is next level in this.
I can't think of anyone else from this year off the top of my head. Like, I'd have to look through my list, but every performance in this is so good. I adored the score as well by Jerskin Fendrix. Parts of it, I mean, it all complements the film so well. There are parts that are really kind of grating and irritating, and obviously that's the point. And then there's those big swelling kind of orchestral pieces like towards the end of the film that are so emotive. It's just gorgeous. It just complements the film so well.
Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Dissecting all the stuff we're talking about, et cetera, and obviously that's all important. But I think this film was captured perfectly. I give full credit to CineView for this one-line review. This is Barbie on absinthe.
It is. It's female empowerment.
Nailed it. Full stop. That is it. Turn of last century Paris absinthe, but the story of Barbie discovering herself.
Before we move on from cinematography and the look of the film, can I just ask you what your thoughts were on the split between black and white and color cinematography?
Oh yeah, we haven't touched on
that. Because it's funny, when I first watched it, I was like, I thought that I understood what the black and white signified, but rethinking about it, I don't think I did. Do you understand why? Because we don't really cut back and forth. It's almost like it's just black and white for the first half hour or so until she leaves with Ruffalo, and then from memory, we're pretty much straight color from there.
It's another thing that I need. I need to see it again.
I definitely need a rewatch,
because by the time I thought I knew, I went, oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
So much of the film had gone past that I need to go back and check whether I was actually right with that. I thought that the black and white was when she was still sort of in her metaphorical prison of not seeing the outside world.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, intellectually, but also geographically. She's not allowed to leave that house.
Yeah, okay.
And then obviously as soon as she steps out into the real
it's
world,
almost like Wizard
suddenly,
of Oz.
childlike. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But there is a point very late in the film when Defoe and I can't remember the actor's name, but McCandles.
Yami Rousseff. Yeah.
They start being in color as well.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if that's to do. So maybe that is when Bella 2.0, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Maybe when she starts to kind of intellectually awaken.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They get color there. I'm not sure. I need to see it again, but that was the only thing
I like your thoughts, but then I'm like, if that's the case, wouldn't it go back to black and white later on when she's back at the husband's house and she's kind of trapped again? But yeah,
because I think she's intellectually awakened. She's no longer, because she is at
more
no
willing
point
to be in control of her own
She's
life.
not the victim when she's at Chris Abbott's place at all. She's well and truly off the leash and living her best awakened, feminine, empowered self.
Yep. The worst thing about being in Australia is that we always get these brilliant films so late in the year that they always end up being the episode like before we do our top 5 of the year list. And it's like, well, we've just spoken about that, so no point talking about it again. But certainly for me, this is going to probably top my year. It sounds like it is for you as well. We will have
I haven't gone back through, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head that is sort of even in contention, really. And obviously we've had some very strong films even in the last month.
Definitely.
None of them touch this.
We will have our great mate really Sean Carney from Scaredy Boys and lots of other shows on the Sans Pants Network. He's going to join us for that episode. Hopefully he'll maybe have a different number one so that we have something different. But knowing Carney,
maybe it'll be Exorcist Believer.
Like this as well. Oh no! Oh God, no! But yeah, I'm a 10 out of 10, and I can't wait to see this film again. It's even though the runtime is a little bit longer, we're 2 hours 20. I didn't feel it.
I was upset when this ended. I wanted more. Yeah, I'm a 9.5, but only because I kind of forced myself never to give 100% on first viewing. But it's gonna be. I'm just holding off until I watch it again. But I absolutely fucking adored this. I think it's a really special film.
Yeah, definitely.
And everyone should go and see it.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I don't know if we're doing our best of the year next week or the week after. I've got to touch base because Carney's overseas at the moment. Lucky duck. But if not, there's plenty of new releases out. Are you keen on Ferrari?
I am. we should probably at least acknowledge the fact there's a new Aquaman movie, although the kids don't want to see it, so it'll probably wait for streaming.
I'm not going to bother seeing Aquaman. I'm hoping to get to the movies a couple of times over the next weeks, but I'm mostly keen on Night Swim, and I guess I'll check Ferrari out. But I've been very lucky to get to the movies quite a few times. I saw the new rom-com with Sydney Sweeney, Anyone But You, and that was...
Yeah, you saw you and your Sydney Sweeney crush. Oh, look, I want to see it because I like my namesake, but I'm not expecting much from it. I think he's quite good in everything. So,
yeah.
And you know, she's got a really impressive rack. So, I'll get to it. I kind of want to see The Beekeeper just because it looks like dumb action fun.
Oh yeah, that's a dad movie for sure. That's
Statham being ridiculous and kicking ass, and just trying to think. There was something.
If you haven't seen it yet, get to Godzilla -1. I've seen it twice.
I do want to see that. I haven't been able to find it anywhere close, so I'm kind of just eyeing off your Plex library.
Next week will either be a movie or our top 5. I'll touch base with Carney and we'll figure that out. But in the meantime, go watch Poor Things because it's absolutely incredible.
Watch it twice.
And look, it's not for everyone. There's going to be a lot of people who watch this and don't like it. And that's fine. If you don't like it, that's cool. It's not for everyone. But I adored this film.
Yeah, do yourself give it a go. Yeah. And don't sort of wait for streaming because it's fucking stunning. It's, you know, you don't have to go to Gold Class like I did and have fish tacos. But it's worth seeing on a decent sized screen because it is gorgeous.
All right. In the meantime, if you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at wewatchedathing.com or wewatchedathing@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, all under the handle at wewatchedathing. If you want to help support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/wewatchedathing. You can get early access to episodes. You can hear our Hunt for the Perfect Album series a good 6 months before it drops on the main feed here. We've got some fun plans for this new year as well. In fact, we're going to be recording
good stuff happening this year.
Hopefully next week we're going to have a fun guest on. And that's it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next week.
Go do some furious jumping with Bella.